In his book, The Way of the Superior Man, David Deida talks about one of the most important aspects of understanding women, temperature. But it's so sad to see it's only 3 pages, because the moment I read this title, I knew exactly what it was talking about. As a guy who did it in two different cultures, a Middle Eastern culture and American culture. And if you don't understand this, if you don't understand what hot-tempered woman is and a cold-tempered woman is, and if you approach a hot woman as a cold woman or vice versa, you're just doing yourself a disservice. And if you need a cold-tempered woman in your life to cool you down at the moment, but you're still searching for hot-tempered women, you're also doing yourself a disservice. So what is a hot-tempered woman? Hot-tempered women are more individualistic, more liberal, not politically, but generally they are. And they usually have more professional goals, like career, status, money. And they're usually more sexual, or they're usually more sexually active, and they want to pursue like different sexual activities. Maybe they're like more open to fetishes, fantasies, etc., etc. They might be considered more fun, but with that funness, there's also this aspect of this chaotic, this argumentative side. So especially dealing with a hot-tempered woman, it's just there's always this aggressive side of it. So you have to accept that chaotic side in that kind of relationship. On the other side, there's a cold-tempered woman. They're more of a collectivist. They have more family, society, or nurture-based goals. They have more personal goals. They might be volunteering in a local church or in a local area, like helping people, whatnot. Their movements, even their movements, you can tell like they're slow-paced. How they talk, how they act is more collected. They usually have like personal goals around having a big family or having a family like a marriage. And you might see like a cold-tempered woman want to marry very early on, considering like in Western culture, people don't want to marry before 30 or something. So cold-tempered woman might want to marry like 18, 19 years old, and they're completely okay with it. And again, so when you look at the descriptions, you might think like hot-tempered women are just basically hoes, and cold-tempered women are like conservative church girls. That's not true. It's just if you're very religious and conscientious, you might come from a conservative family, you might be very hot tempered, but you might still be very religious and, for example, stay virgin till marriage. But once you marry with your one and only partner, your husband, you can be very crazy about sex and everything. And there's another aspect of hot and cold tempered women. So in hot tempered women, they're less regretful for casual flings, and they usually have more casual flings and relationships, like friends with benefits kind of situations. Women, generally speaking, are more regretful like for one night stand than men, but especially cold-tempered women, they're the most regretful of all. So understanding where you are or understanding where your partner is very important in that situation. So how do you know if a woman is a hot temperament or cold temperament? Small talk method called Ford. Maybe you know what that is. So Ford is 4 things you can talk about with anyone for a small talk. Those are family, occupation, recreation, and dream. So when you're talking with women, these 4 things might help you to understand where they are in the spectrum and how you can approach the situation, or if you should even approach, and even if you should try to like date them or whatever. First thing is family. If they come from a bigger family, and they usually they still have connections with them, like they might have like 5, 6 siblings, and especially if they're like older sisters, because they took care of the younger ones, because there's no way a mom can take care of 6 kids, especially if she's working. They usually are more nurturing side, so they usually have more cold temperament, and they usually have like, and on that side, if they want to have big family, they're more like cold temperament wise. So occupation, if they have jobs that are helping people, like nursing, teacher, bartending is interesting because it might be very chaotic too, and a hot temperament woman might love that chaos or just the money they make out of it. So it's hard to say anything about bartending. I say these things, but just because a woman is a nurse or a teacher doesn't mean they just want to have a big family, and like you have to understand it from the concept of the conversation and from how she talks. Hobbies and recreation is a wild card. I wouldn't depend on their hobbies to make any decisions, because hobbies, generally speaking, is about the social circle too. If you have people that loves paddleboard, you're gonna paddleboard, right? It's like there's the social aspect of it, so it's hard to say in the hobbies standpoint. And the 4th thing is dreams. Dreams is the most important thing. What she wants is what she is, generally speaking, right? If she says like, oh, I don't know, marriage, I'm too young for that. Okay, that's hot temperament. But generally speaking, you can understand from what kind of lifestyle that they're in and what kind of lifestyle they're chasing for. So to summarize hot and cold woman, I'm gonna give an analogy, and hopefully that's gonna make sense. think about it as drinks. Hot woman is like hot coffee or like a hot chocolate. You take it like during winter. And a cold woman is freshly squeezed orange juice with some ice on it. So you need it both in your life, depends on which kind of situation that you are in. And I'm not saying don't cheat on your wife or anything like that. But I'm saying like you need to have connections with multiple women, especially, or just do things to cool you down or heat you up. Depends on what kind of situation you're in. For example, David Deida makes an excellent point here. He says like if you have a very busy life, maybe you didn't have a very busy life and you start dating with a hot woman, you just love the fun, you just love the sexual aspect of it, and then you get very busy. Maybe you start a company, you did something, and then now you need cooler women. So you can just go for a massage, or you can just do like maybe just some traveling, do some things to cool your soul. So you might not need that kind of cooling effect from your partner. Or you can even negotiate, because as I said, like this is a spectrum and it can be changed. Like people can change in this aspect. Not so much, but they can change. And both extremes are bad. If they're very hot, they might be very promiscuous, they might be very crazy, very chaotic. And if they're very cold, they might just not have a life at all. And when you're dating them, it's just like dragging them to do anything or everything. And that might be bad too. So, and they might be so clingy. They just love you so much. They just want to give you so much. You just feel like get away from them because you don't you don't give that back enough. And here's the thing: if you're very goal oriented, if you're very hot, you can have a hot partner, which can just go with you, right? If you're an entrepreneur, you can have an entrepreneur girlfriend, wife, whatever, and then you just go together. But then, how are you gonna cool yourself? Because you need some sort of like balance, or you might burn out. Like for example, me, I do a lot of things nowadays. Like this YouTube channel, I have a business, I'm working, I'm running every day, 3-4 miles. I'm gonna start boxing again. It's just lots of things are going on. So I need someone to cool me down, right? Tell me at the end of the day, like when I meet them or something, or like when I do something, they can just say like, hey, okay, let's just grab a coffee, let's just grab an ice cream. Okay, and even though like ice cream's calories, blah blah blah. Okay, you eat
sugar, or you said you're working out.
like it's good to have that once in a while just to cool you down. Because if I had a very hot partner, it would be too much for me. I would burn out. But if you are more calm life, and if you like that thing, then maybe partner might balance that out. You know, maybe it might give you some craziness, some unpredictability in your life. Is gonna bring enough unpredictability in your life, but like hot-tempered woman definitely is gonna bring more to it. And there's this cultural aspect too. When I first came to Iowa, I had this American friend, and I told him that I always wanted to date Latina, and he told me, "But be careful, they're fiery." I didn't know what he meant like by fiery. I didn't even know what fiery meant as a word in English. But now as a person who did it Latina for almost a year now, I can tell you, yeah. So there's this cultural aspect, and when it comes to like Latin culture, some African countries, it's hard to make a distinction in Africa as a whole, but some African countries, Western European culture, Australians, they're more like hot tempered. Middle Eastern, Asian, some religious countries, they're more cold-tempered cultures. Not all of them. Like you might meet a Latina who's very cold, but generally speaking, like you can assume from a cultural aspect too, you will be correct like 85% of the time. And that depends on the cultural aspect, how they could grow up. They might be an Arab, grew up in US, and he's gonna and act like a token American. So that doesn't always correlate. So anyways, guys, hopefully this is gonna help you to understand the nature of women when it comes to temperature, what they are. And if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe me. It really helps. And I see you in the next video.